This is more like, it's more like counting cards in blackjack. Like counting cards in blackjack is not illegal. They will boot you out of a casino if you do it, which I've always found weird. Like it's not actually illegal. It's actually kind of amazing that you can count cards. Like somebody is that type of mathematical skills and that type of patience in order to count cards. And they continue to add more and more decks and automatic shufflers so that you can't count cards. But the fact is, counting cards is not illegal. It's considered unethical, which is kind of like stealing signals. It's not illegal, but considered slightly unethical. But didn't Tony Dungy and what he said, didn't that just vindicate the Patriots for Spygate? If you remember back to when Bill Belichick spoke on Spygate, he didn't talk a lot about it, but he said there was basically a difference of opinion in regards to the rules. I've always thought this. I've never thought it was a big deal because I agree with Tony Dungy. Stealing somebody's signals, it doesn't matter the game. It doesn't matter the sport. What's the indicator in baseball? In basketball, when you watch a film with another coach, or the reason that college basketball coaches are no longer allowed to scout in person with the exception of tournament play is because what's head tap? What's pull on the ear? What's elbow touch? What do those mean? You write down the corresponding signal to the corresponding play. And the only difference in what Bill Belichick did, instead of having guys with binoculars, is they just used the camera. Did the exact same thing. Right? I mean, everybody knows Todd Graham's been doing it. Has he been punished? The answer is no. Got that Janet Jackson earpiece in. That freaks everybody out. Like, you wouldn't have signals unless you thought somebody was spying on them. You wouldn't have all of these kind of clever icons and logos and indicators unless you thought somebody's spying on them. So I actually agree with Dion, and I agree with Tony Dungy, and I think all of it vindicates the Patriots. And it becomes kind of a butterfly effect of missteps or supposed missteps by the Patriots, to which if you look at it from a completely different perspective, you're like, wait a second. All along, we've thought the Patriots were cheaters when all they were doing was thorough and complete research on signals, and that's what the videotapes had on them. If they weren't cheating then, and no one actually believes that Tom Brady deflated the balls himself. We don't know. And by the way, everybody seems to inflate and overinflate and deflate footballs. Like, what are you mad about? I don't think Bountygate was overblown. And I think that the issue with Bountygate was simple. The commissioner of the NFL told the New Orleans Saints to cut it out, and they didn't. It wasn't. The reason they went after him was not just player safety, but they lied about it. The same reason Mike Vick went to jail. Mike Vick didn't go to jail for dogfighting. He went to jail because he lied about it. Right? Jim Tressel didn't get fired because guys sold their gold pants in order to get tattoos. He got fired, and because of was it Terrell Pryor? He got fired because he lied about what he knew. Bruce Pearl didn't get fired at Tennessee because he had a barbecue that was a secondary violation. He got fired because he lied. Then he walked out of the room, came back in, and was like, my bad, I lied. Because we all think if you lie about one thing, you're lying about a bunch of things. We can't trust you anymore. Now we punish you to the fullest extent of whatever punishment we can. So, yeah, I have no doubt that the Patriots did something that at the time they weren't supposed to do. But what they weren't supposed to be doing was essentially what everybody was doing. They were just doing it in much smarter 2010 or whatever it was, 2007 sort of fashion. Why do I have to hire 3 guys to do it when I can just simply hire 1 guy and have a camera? I think Tony Dungy just vindicated the Pats while trying to vindicate himself. And isn't it at least modestly ironic that the team that turned in the Patriots, granted, different coach, different general manager, different quarterback, is the same team that Deion Sanders like, hey, this holier-than-thou stuff, y'all were doing the same thing. It is not illegal. It's unethical. And Tony Dungy can say, hey, everybody's been doing it, but it wasn't like you volunteered that you were doing it up until the moment in which Deion Sanders outed you for doing it. I like Tony Dungy, but he comes across as a hypocrite here. Don't tell. This is forever my steroid argument. Okay? Because what happens is you'll get people now who will say, hey, look, man, wasn't that big a deal. Everybody was doing it. First of all, everybody's not doing it. Everybody's not doing it in Major League Baseball. The idea that every single player was doing it, I don't believe, because I know people who are friends of mine who played during that era who will swear on the Bible and swear in their kids' lives that they did not do it. And they did not see the success of others. I don't believe every single person was on steroids. But if they didn't know it was wrong at the time, the same thing as Tony Dungy. If you didn't think it was wrong, how come you haven't volunteered that you've done it? Like, I believe that Bagwell and Biggio, especially Bagwell, they were juicing. He was a juicer, right? Piazza, juicer. You know? I believe that. Mike Piazza. Who else went in this year? Oh, Pudge Rodriguez. And if you want to tell me, like, well, it wasn't wrong, everybody was doing it. If it wasn't wrong, how come nobody's come out and said, like, hey, you know what? I was doing it at the time. Everybody was doing it. Or at least I was wrong. I did it at the time. Yeah, in hindsight, it might have been wrong. Because they know in their soul it's wrong to do. And the reason Tony Dungy didn't volunteer any of this until Deion Sanders was like, hey, you know, the Colts used to steal signs. And then Tony Dungy's like, well, you know, since the 1800s and baseball. And like, all right, dude, were you stealing signs? Well, we did so legally. Okay, counting cards is legal. It's just not ethical.